Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another piercing related video for you guys, and today I'm going to be doing my top 5 piercing myths. So these are things that I personally came up with and thought about and made a little list of the top 5 things that people say work, but in reality they are very much myths and not true, and actually are very unhealthy for your piercings. And I just kind of want to go over this again. I say it every video, but I just need to make this clear. I am not a professional piercer. I was very close to getting apprenticed, but it never happened, unfortunately. But I do have a pretty okay knowledge of piercings. Do I know everything? No, absolutely not. I think I know enough to share with you guys so that you guys can kind of be informed and help you with your piercing healing experience. So let's go ahead and kick off this video with the very first myth, which is piercing guns are safe. So many people, for years now have said, oh, I got my cartilage done with a piercing gun, I got my nose pierced with a piercing gun, everything's totally fine, they're sterile, they're safe, blah, blah, blah. Myth. Definite myth for sure. Piercing guns are not safe, and I am someone who had my 3 lobes on both ears and a cartilage piercing before. Not this one, but I have had it pierced up there before, and it was done with a piercing gun. Now, like I said, some people will defend piercing guns to the death, saying that they're totally sterile and they're totally safe. That's not true at all. Piercing guns are not and cannot be properly sterilized, and you do run the risk of getting staph infections, you run the risk of getting hepatitis, AIDS, HIV. Also, another big thing about piercing guns is they cause a lot, and I mean a lot, of trauma to the skin. There's a huge difference between a piercing gun and a sterile, professional, hollow needle used to pierce you. The second myth that I have for this video is tea tree oil is a good option for cleaning. Myth. And so many people, would comment on my videos and say, oh, I use tea tree oil to clean my piercing. Definite no-no. Tea tree oil is not a method of cleaning. Tea tree oil basically is a oil used, and you can find this in like the burn section in pharmacies, things like that. But basically the only thing tea tree oil should be used when it comes to your piercings is for hypertrophic scarring, or those little piercing bumps that you get. If you've ever had a nose piercing, ear piercing, anything like that, and you see a little red skin colored bump next to it, that's more than likely a hypertrophic scar. Very, very common with piercings, even when you go and get it done with a professional needle at a professional shop. Sometimes they are just inevitable, and they do sometimes happen. They can be cured, and they can be cured with tea tree oil. That's the only time I recommend tea tree oil to people, is if they do have one of those, unsightly piercing bumps. Basically what the tea tree oil will do is it will dry and shrink the bump until it totally disappears and or falls off. But other than that, it should never be used as a cleaning method. The reasoning for that is because it is very, very strong, it is very potent, and if you are using it as a cleaning method, you're probably noticing a lot of redness, you're probably noticing a lot of dryness, and a lot of irritation to the area. You're not helping it, you're actually doing it an injustice. Like, you're making your piercing very irritated, you're making it's just not going to heal right. So never ever use tea tree oil as a cleaning method. Trust me, just don't do it. Myth number 3 that I have for this video is getting your tongue and belly button pierced. If you get it pierced wrong, you can bleed to death. Myth. When I first got my tongue piercing and I started doing like research on it and watching people's videos, they said if you get it pierced in the wrong spot, you run the risk of bleeding to death. And I always thought this was true, and it's something that I always worried about, but that is in fact a myth and not true at all. Yes, sometimes when you do get your tongue pierced incorrectly in the wrong spot, there can be a significant amount of bleeding. There can be uncontrollable bleeding, but you will not bleed out. There are certain veins in your tongue, on the bottom of your tongue, for instance, that are very thick and that hold a lot of blood in there. So for instance, if your piercer pierces through one of those, you are going to bleed for quite a long time. I always thought that was a risk with tongue piercings. Like, I always thought, oh my god, what if it gets pierced, so I'm gonna bleed to death, oh my god. But no, that cannot happen. And also with belly button piercings, I also read that back in the day, if you were pierced too deep and you hit an artery, you could bleed to death. Myth number 4 that I have for this video, cleaning your piercings more often will help them heal quicker. Myth. That is the worst thing you can do for your piercings, is over clean them. So many people think, oh, well, if I clean it 8 times a day, it'll be healed in a week. No, that will actually make it a lot longer of a healing period because your body naturally has healing elements to it. For instance, when you get a new piercing and you start to see the white, pus and crusties, that is actually a good thing. That means your body is going to that area and trying to heal that area. So whenever you see pus, that does not mean you have to do a 15-minute sea salt soak. That is not a good thing. So just know that your body has natural elements and natural ways of cleaning and healing the body. For instance, when you get a cut and it heals, that's what I'm talking about. Piercings are just like open wounds. They do and will heal as long as you are taking care of them and keeping the area clean and using all of the proper stuff. If you are cleaning your piercing more than 6 times a day, you're not actually helping it. Even though you may think you are, you're not. You're actually just irritating the skin, you're irritating the piercing, and you're just washing away all of the good bacteria. Up to 1 to 3 times a day is more than enough to clean your piercings with. You don't need to go over that. And definitely make sure that if it is a brand new piercing, you are at least cleaning it at least once a day. And then the final myth that I have for this piercing myths video is myth number 5, and that is ointments and rubbing alcohol are great ways to heal your piercing. Definite myth. Don't ever use that stuff. So many people would comment on my videos saying, oh, I use Neosporin to heal my piercing, or I used rubbing alcohol to heal my piercing. No, definite huge no-no. Those are not good things to use on your healing piercing, especially ointments, because when you're applying an ointment to a healing piercing, you are not letting the piercing breathe. You are trapping bacteria into that ointment, and you could very well be causing an infection to happen in the future. Some of the best ways to clean your piercings and ways that I use personally is antibacterial soap or Provon soap and non-iodized sea salt. Those things will do wonders for your piercings as long as you are cleaning it correctly and doing it in moderation. Your piercing will heal beautifully. So just keep that in mind. Stay away from ointments, stay away from Neosporin, and definitely stay away from rubbing alcohol. Those things should not ever go anywhere near your piercing. Okay everyone, so that is everything that I have for this piercing myths video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned something. If you guys have a myth of your own that you would like to share, go ahead and post it down in the comments, and make sure you are being nice and respectful to everybody in the comments. But that is all that I have for today. If you guys enjoyed this, be sure to give a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to go down and subscribe. But until then, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. I love you guys very much. Bye!